All right, so everybody welcome again to the 2021 American Society of Dowsers annual meeting. And you are here now to hear Gale West talk about heart's desire versus soul desire, which is essential in manifesting anything. And Gale's going to talk to us about that. She's an internationally known speaker, entrepreneurial coach, intuitive consultant, and artist with more than 35 years of experience in human potential. She's a midwife to magnificent businesses, careers, and lives, is passionate about supporting clarity of vision, right action, and co-creating with the divine. She specializes in transforming personal and collective relationships to money and success through workshops, retreats, classes, and breakthrough coaching. She's also certified as a consultant and teacher in the Akashic Records. She's taught in China and the US, and her best-selling book, Money Come Dance With Me, was inspired by her communication with money in the Akashic Records. It invites a new paradigm of money as the expression of divine love in the marketplace and as a guide and loving friend. And Gale's been dowsing for 30 years. Before I hand it over to you, Gale, just a reminder, I think everybody is coming in muted. That's great. Keep yourself muted. You have the ability to unmute yourself. So if you have a question, you can put it in the chat. You can unmute yourself and ask it. Let's see, this is being recorded. And take it away, Gale.
So welcome to my workshop on creating powerful intentions aligning with heart and soul desire. And it's not, Mark?
Yeah, it isn't moving?
It's not moving.
Okay. So make sure that you have the cursor in the window for that.
Oh, now I have to curse it.
Yeah, there you go.
I have to curse it.
You have to curse it. Just a gentle one.
Okay. So as most of us know that the three pillars of manifestation is desire, belief, and expectancy. And you must have a clear sense of desire. And then, of course, you have to believe that it's possible, and then you have to expect it to come. And where a lot of people are stuck is as far as having a clear sense of desire. And so desire is a strong feeling, this is from Webster, of wanting to have something or to, like, I can't even see my slides here, or wishing for something to happen. The problem is wanting and wishing doesn't give you anything. You have to have a clear intention. So we're going to talk about intentions, creating powerful intentions. And too often, one of our desires are more than I want to get away from something or I want something to go away instead of towards something. And so the Latin, I love to look at the origin of stuff, that the Latin of desire is, oops, that connects us, is in connection with astrological hopes. And true desire really comes from our connection to our path. Without desire, we would not be connected. We wouldn't be able to actually walk our path. So it's interesting because I was doing a workshop a couple of years ago for the Dowsing Convention, and it was on manifesting with ease and grace. And one of the things that I always do my own workshops before I have anybody else do them. So I was having people douse how in alignment they were with desire, belief, and expectancy. So I'm checking myself, and I was checking how aligned I was with desire, and it was about 90-something%. And I checked myself as far, and then I thought, oh, I wonder if the heart's desire is different than soul desire. I mean, and desire. And I was 12% in alignment with heart's desire. Cause for pause, I really had to sit back and look at how disconnected I was with what I really wanted. And then over time, I started looking at soul desire and dowsing whether or not something was aligned with soul desire and heart's desire, and I would get a different number. And I started realizing that soul desire was a very different energy than heart's desire. And that soul desire connects us to our path, and heart's desire allows us to walk that path in joy and delight. And interestingly enough, one of the things I think a lot of us who are spiritual, walk the spiritual path, we're really connected to our soul desire, but not always so much connected to our heart's desire. So one of the things that I do is work in the Akashic Records, and I opened up the records for this workshop of hearts and soul desire. And I asked, what is the difference between heart desire and soul desire? And I heard heart desire is connected to the soul, but filtered with connection to the body and being in a body. It is connection to the energy field in form and of form. Soul desire is formless. Soul desire is aligned with the path of the soul to grow spiritually, but doesn't align with joy. Joy is a heart connection. Soul desire doesn't have a feeling involved. Heart's desire is about living in joy and delight, and flourishing and thriving. It is more important to notice the desire of the heart that is a better guide to creating a life that is aligned with desire, with delight, flourishing, and thriving. And I was talking to Marty. So I think if anybody you were at his talk this morning, you heard him talking about heart and soul desire. And he actually created reagents that are about heart and soul desire. And he said, oh my God, that must be aligned with the three selves of the Huna tradition. So I actually did an article for the ASD Digest a couple of years ago, looking at the three selves of the Huna. Now they think that these are three distinct selves. And I really believe that the lower self, which is our inner child, and that is the one that's connected to our heart's desire. The middle self is our conscious mind, and the higher self is that spiritual double in heaven, and that's connected to our soul desire. And according to the Huna tradition, I highly recommend this book. I don't know if anybody, can you see it? It's Essential Huna by Arlen McDonald. The lower self is the one connected with the direct connection to the higher self along an energy cord, or the energy of, or mana. Without the lower self energy, which is emotion, that's our heart, that's where our emotion lies. Intentions are not given enough power to manifest. And she talks in here about that prayer. So the middle self is what creates a really powerful intentional prayer intentions, and that is the one that is aligned. And then once it's aligned with the heart's desire and the soul desire, the intentions are really, really powerful as far as bringing things into manifestation. So, so I decided that I was going to, I just want to read this really quickly. Prayer is carefully worded and imaged by the Una, by your middle self, and sent to the higher self by the lower self as already in the desired state, with the surcharge of mana or energy used in the answering of the prayer. I look at it as the answering of the intention. So that's from the Essential Huna. So I decided that I was going to work this out myself, and I looked at so what is my challenge? My car's old, the brakes are bad, needs a lot of work, and will cost a lot of money to fix. So I sat down and I said, okay, what do I want to create that is in alignment with heart and soul desire? And so I worked out my intention. So I'm going to walk you through, because this is something that you're going to do yourself in this workshop, to really look at. So if I'm going to go back a minute. No. So one of the things that was very interesting to me, so my partner Mark came home, and he had done the radionics workshop with Marty, and he was saying, whoa, we were working with intentions. And one of the things I realized is that if I had an intention that I created, and if I added a word, the general vitality would go up. And if I changed the word, maybe the general vitality went down. And so I really started thinking about the power of the word. And we've talked about this before in a lot of our workshops. And actually, Raymond Grace talked about this last night, about really having powerful intentions that are clear with what you want. So when we think about the power of the word, the more you have an intention that's aligned with heart desire and soul desire, the clearer it will be and the easier it will be to manifest. So I worked out this. So I want a new car, that's 4%. I have a new car, 14%. I own a new car. You can see how it's shifted. That was 32%. I own a new car that feels abundant and prosperous. That only went up 1 point. I own a new car that feels wealthy. That went up 10 points. And for those of you who have read my book, I talk about abundance really doesn't have an energy field. It's just very amorphous, as opposed to wealthy, which means well-being. I own a car that feels wealthy. I didn't necessarily want a new car. So when I took out the new car, it went up. And I definitely wanted a sunroof. So that went up to 63%. So I own a car that feels wealthy with a sunroof, and I added leather seats, 72%, a good sound system, 84%, excellent gas mileage, 85%, excellent condition, 91%. So at that point, I thought, well, what kind of, if I'm going to start looking for a car, so I knew it was going to be a used car, where do I look for as far as the year? So I dowsed 2014 or newer, that was 51%, 2015 or newer, 56%, 2016 or newer, that was 93%. And I had to really work. So I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be 2016 or newer. That's going to be maybe expensive. Am I going to be able to afford it? I had to work with the parts of me that were going, okay, heart, you wanted 2016 or newer. So you wanted 2016 or newer. Well, let's see how we're going to work this out. But and then I thought, well, I'm an artist, so my car it just actually was towed away yesterday by I donated it to the WBEZ, our local radio station, and I love that car, so it's a little hard to get rid of it. But I couldn't carry canvases very well because I'm an artist. So I said allows me to transport large canvases. That went down to 72%. Just to easily transport canvases, went up to 95%. I added hybrid, comfortable. You can see how things changed. Wait, that's, and so when I dowsed that this was the ultimate thing, I own a car that feels wealthy with a sunroof, leather seats, excellent condition, gas mileage comfortable, easy to drive, allows me to easily transport canvases 2016 or newer. That was 98%. So I checked my heart's desire, and it was 100% aligned with heart's desire. It was 97% aligned with heart's desire. So I kind of tuned in to my soul desire. I have no idea why that was only 97% aligned with soul desire. But when I added in a color that I loved, it was 100% aligned with both. And I thought, well, maybe I should change to prosperous instead of wealthy, because wealthy seems a little much. You know, it always hits up against our stuff. And that actually went down to 81%. So here is my intention, my final intention. I own a car that feels wealthy with sunroof, leather seats, excellent condition, gas mileage, comfortable, easy to drive. I can easily transport canvases in a color that I love, 2016 or newer. So, and then so one of the things I started doing was really feeling into this intention, just allowing it to be connecting to thankfulness, blessing it, and then taking some action. The first thing I started doing is taking some action. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about later, the importance of taking even a small action once you have the intention. that's gonna bring it to you. So last week, I bought my car. So I took action, I gave blessings, and my old car was in hospice. So sad. Anyway, so this is my car. It's a 2017 hybrid. It has a sunroof. It's a Prius. And I didn't even look at Priuses because somebody told me they don't have sunroofs. And we went to a dealer because the other one was closed, and there it was. I just walked into it. I'm like, oh my God, this is my car. This is my car. This is my car. And behind is Jazzy, my old car. And I had to say goodbye. I did a ritual blessing and cleansing and vacuumed it out and took it to the car wash and gave it the deluxe wash for its last drive away. And there we go. So any questions about that?
And go ahead and unmute yourself. If you have a question, you can just unmute and ask directly.
Hi, Gail. I don't have a lot of money, but I'd like a car just like yours. So what do you do to, to balance all that out? What kind of questions? What do you do?
Well, I think one of the things that you would do was when you're going to actually, I would say easily affordable. And when you work on your intention statement. So
but if I have the intention of having leather seats, a sunroof, 2016 in good condition, easy to drive.
That might not be your sole desire.
No, but it sounds so
yeah. So the important thing is to know that honestly, I looked at another car. So let me tell you about the leather seats. It doesn't have leather seats. It has leatherette seats. So I had to work with Susan Collins. Thank you very much, Susan, because I was very disappointed that it had leatherette seats. I said, excuse me, universe, I asked for leather seats, it's leatherette. But I found out that Mercedes uses leatherette seats. So, okay, there you go. And they're much more comfortable than my leather seats were. And I have to tell you, my other car, which I absolutely loved, was a 1999. And so it doesn't have to necessarily be a 2000, you need to douse for yourself what is most in alignment. There was another car that I was interested in, which was a 2013 Acura Hybrid, and that was significantly less expensive, and it would have had leather seats. So your heart's desire and your soul desire will guide you as to what is best for you.
Well, if I know that I only have a little bit of money, is there any way to put a desire in there that the car comes to me through some form of grace?
Well, what I'm going to ask you to do is create your intention. So what we're going to do is, so if getting a new car is your challenge, identify. We're going to go into breakout groups now. We're going to put you in another person. And so identify your challenge. So I said, my car's old, it needs new brakes. I honestly didn't want to get rid of it. And the next day after I set that intention, my car broke down. Well, the light went on, the engine light went on the highway. I was able to get off on the exit that I needed to get off on. It stopped, and I was able to roll off over onto so I wasn't blocking traffic. And when I got and I was able to get it to my mechanic for $10 extra. And then they said well, they didn't say it was in hospice. Mark said it was in hospice. So it was like, because I set the intention, the car was ready to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just get stuck on the money part.
So Linda, the exercise should be helpful to you, and the idea is to try different things and douse to see if it improves, the percentage of optimal. because, you know, there may be some things that you think would be better, but actually your pendulum will tell you that they're not. And just ask a lot of questions, and you'll get an intention that's more aligned with, you know, your resources and your situation. That's the
So,
process.
and part of it is right now we're not looking at, oh, I can't do it. And that's where you have to clear your belief and your expectancy. Now it's just getting clear on your desire. Does that make sense, Linda? And
Yeah, I don't feel comforted, but it makes sense.
yeah. So once you get clear on so creating your intention statement by adding or subtracting elements in your statement, this is about intention, until it is at least 90% of optimal and at least 90% of heart and soul desire.
Thank you.
Okay, does that answer?
I'll have to find out for myself by dowsing.
Okay.
Perfect.
So, so two things. One is, if you're on a phone, so last time people couldn't figure out how to unmute themselves. If you're on a phone, it is *6 to unmute yourself. And you are not automatically muted by the host, so you can unmute yourself if you're on your cell phone, on your computer. And then you're going to, so when it says join breakout room, click that. Don't click not join breakout room, or some person is going to be in there by themselves, which has happened. So let yourself go in. So, and you have, how's our time, Mark?
So what do? We unmute ourselves, or
You're going to be in a breakout room with
you're already unmuted, so you're good, Linda.
Okay.
You're going to be in a breakout room with one other person. Take time in yourself. This is the reason you're going to be with one other person. If you're kind of stuck on what to add or subtract, your partner can help you. So sometimes we don't know what to ask for when we're creating intentions. So your partner's going to help you. So identify your challenge. What would you like to change or modify? What would it look like if it's different? And then start by, so you notice that that's what I did. I created my challenge, and then I just gradually started adding things and subtracting based on whether or when it went up of percentage of optimal or down. You want to get to at least 90% of optimal.
Okay. And Gail, we've got about 35 minutes until the end. So how much time do you want to allow each person for this exercise?
So I think 12 minutes total. So each person will have, so you can just work together or not. It's up to you. So you're going to have 12 minutes total. Wait a minute. How much time do we have?
We have 25 minutes. So 12 minutes would be about half of that. That's good. That'll give you time for Q&A and so on. I think that's
okay,
good.
Cool.
Okay,
because we're going to charge it.
Okay. So any questions before we put you into breakouts?
Will the rooms be recorded? The breakout
rooms will not be recorded.
Okay.
So you have freedom and privacy.
And let's add that everybody should hold confidential whatever is discussed within the breakout room.
Right.
Yes.
This is private. This is, and if so you can share or not share with your partner, but it's really about being able to have help, because you know a lot of us get stuck when it comes to desire, and it's helpful to know what kind of, so when I started out with I want, I have, I own, very different energies. I own a new car, I own a car. Okay.
Okay.
Were people, so what we were doing, Joan, was, so I walked people through a process that I went through to create an intention that was 100% aligned with my heart and soul desire around getting a new car. And so it's just kind of like, I wanted a new car that was 4%. I have a new car that was 14%. I own a new car. So just really seeing how every word that you add or subtract in your intention either aligns you with, goes up with as far as optimal or goes down. And so the idea was to create an intention that was at least 90% of optimal and 90% of optimal as far as heart's desire and soul's desire.
Thank you. And I have studied Huna. I saw the beginning of the talk when you were talking about Huna. So I've studied that for over 14 years. And
yeah,
so I
and
understand that concept. So thank you.
Yeah, and the middle self is really the one that is kind of helping the lower and the lower self and the higher self create intentions, because the middle self is the one that helps to bring those intentions into being, into form. So without that, we're not able to create intentions. So I'm going to check in and just how did people do? Okay.
And oh, you're going back to slides. I'm sorry, Gale.
So how do people do? So Joan didn't know what the hell we were doing, but anyone want to share?
Susan here, I'll share if you like.
Okay.
Sharon and I, it turned out, were the perfect match to discuss this stuff. And it was very useful for me to talk about it in a really intimate, fast way. And it was very helpful to create that.
And so were you able to create something that was at least 90% aligned with heart and soul desire?
Yeah, I didn't get all the wording perfect, but I knew where I was going, and I'll work on the wording as we go. I did measure the 90% and all of that.
Gale, how many days did it take for you to get to that level? You worked on it numerous times, right?
No, I just sat down and worked on it.
Okay, but it seems to me that some of the second slides, that wasn't the same day. Like you came back the next day.
No, it was. Because I got really clear on what I wanted to change. And then it took me about a half an hour, but honestly, I think I opened the Akashic Records and asked for help. And so what you may want to do is kind of, I love Susan Collins's protocol, and you may want to use her protocol just to get clear and calling on your spirit team. And then because the heart's desire and the soul desire are separate selves, you call on the energy of all three selves to help you create a really powerful intention. And then, and then, you know, if you get a yes, then go ahead, because it'll make it much easier. But were people able to see that when you added something, it went up, and then maybe when you changed it, it went down? What did people notice?
We kept adding and it went up each time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And so you could really see that the more that you added things that felt really aligned, it went up.
Right. And then it significantly went up.
Yeah. And did it feel like when you got to the point where it felt it was over 90%, did it feel really like, oh, wow, that's really what I want?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Okay. So part of what we're going to do is really charge them. And so the interesting thing for me was I created this intention. It was nice. I had lots of stuff to do, and I started looking at cars and whatever. And actually, I actually went out and drove some cars because I was driving the car. So I thought, well, if I'm going to buy a car, I should kind of drive some. And then one morning I got up and I just really felt into my intention, and I blessed it. So, and I gave thanks that it was happening, and it was, so our rabbi says, pray as if your prayer has been answered. So when you feel into the excitement of it, you bless your intention. So part of what we're going to do right now is really feeling into your intention. So if you wrote on a piece of paper, you can put it between your hands and send in blessings. And because when you bless anything, you invite its potential to be realized. So you're blessing your intentions. So bless, bless, bless this intention. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For it's just a matter of time before it manifests in the third dimensional plane. So just feeling into thank you, thank you, thank you. And now calling all the people, places, and events needed to make that happen. And you may want to, if you're muted, you can say your intention out loud. Just, I bless this intention and I thank it for coming into my life. It is in my life now. It's just a matter of time. Just give your intentions a voice, because so we also work with the Mayan shaman. One of the things he says is you need to pray out loud, because that's sending the energy out into the field. So if it's possible and you're in a place where it feels safe, just say your intention out loud. And just, I give thanks for this, for like Linda, I give thanks that I can now easily walk, blah, 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 blah. So
Yeah, I'm writing my intention out on a piece of paper. So I wrote it scribbled before, and
doesn't
then I'm
matter.
going to say it out loud.
Okay. And so knowing that your heart, your lower self, your heart is your emotion, and that feeds your higher self, where your soul desire, your heart's desire is feeding your soul desire. So really feel into the excitement, the feeling of it, blessing it.
Should we say it out loud to the group, or
No,
just,
to yourself.
okay?
Yeah, so go ahead and mute yourself, Linda, when you do that.
I muted her. And just give it form.
I happily walk with ease. I can
And the more that you feel into the power of your blessings and your thanksgiving, that it's, and just calling in all the places, people, and events needed to bring it into form. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. So, and now it's really important to take some sort of action, even if it's small. And that could be just, you know, if you want to go, I wanted to travel to Istanbul a while ago, and I started looking at just flights to Istanbul. I didn't even have the money at the time. I ended up going a year later. Just something that you can do that is kind of like saying to the world, to the universe. So remember, we're all co-creating with the divine, but this is a world of form. So we have to take action also, and allowing the universe to co-create with us. So what small little thing that can you do that is like an intention towards your, whatever it is that you're wanting to create? And then think about it and just write it down. Okay, does anybody have any questions, or anybody want to share what that was like for them?
10, 20,
really open
30,
to-
40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
Susan here. I notice I've been projecting sadness, my issue. which probably is not helping it. So through this exercise, I feel more aware of, as you suggest, the blessing of it and focusing on the receiving of it, I guess.
Yeah, and then notice, so now you have the intention, and just notice if there's any beliefs that need to shift, and any kind of energies of expectancy that aren't there, that you need to work with. And because you know, desire is the basic, that's the foundation. If you don't have desire, it's not going to go anywhere. But then if there's other things that come up, you can start clearing them.
Yeah. The other thing that's helpful sometimes is, you know, sometimes we want to be in a state that's so far removed from where we are right now that it feels like lying to even write the words on paper. And so if we use language like I'm in the process of having, or I'm on a path to, you know, that kind of, I'm learning to, you know, that kind of language can help still preserve the possibility in a way that is actually works and is well aligned.
Yeah. So Susan, so you were saying that blessing and giving thanks was helpful to clear the sadness with it?
Well, I don't think the sadness is cleared yet, but now I recognize, oh, I've been projecting sadness at that issue. I've been projecting helplessness and sadness and not having a path to solving it. And I think working during this exercise, it's helped me with Sharon, helped me clarify what it is that, you know, what is the heart's desire, soul's desire, and what would it look like? What would it feel like? And how would it all be different? So I think I can see it. Can't say that I'm there, but I think I see a path, and as Mark says, an evolution towards it, which I will work at.
Yeah, and I think you're right. By, you know, praying as if your prayer's been answered, that whole idea, just and that actually what they were talking about in the Huna book. It's like the when we bless something, we're inviting its potential, no matter whether we know how to bring it forth or not. That's the kind of energy that you give to the universe, inviting it to come in. So blessing something actually is an action step.
Yeah.
We don't realize that, but it actually is an action step.
Yeah.
And the more we bless it, the more we bless it, the more we make it holy. So when you're blessing your intentions, it's really important to recognize that we are holy, we're divine, and our desires are divine. When they're really aligned with heart and soul desire, then we're aligned with our divinity. And the more that we bless those things, so when you bless your intentions, you're inviting your divinity, and you're actually making those intentions holy.
Okay, so I think
anyone else?
I've found this, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Jean.
Okay. I found this really helpful because I'm kind of floundering, you know, about what to do these days, pandemic and everything. But and I'm trying to come up with ways to make some income. And in doing this, you know, that was my intention, and I have some ideas and creative things that I want to do, and it just made me feel like, wow, I can do this, you know, I can have this intention, I can bless this intention, I can bring this to fruition. So thank you.
Yay!
Yay.
Thank you, Jean. That was the intention of this workshop. Thank you, made my day.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Bless you for doing it.
Thank you.
Isn't she wonderful?
I was supposed to do this last year, and I had a stroke.
Wow.
And, I was 3 weeks post-stroke when the convention started, and I said I don't think so. So this is last year's And my intention was to heal, and I'm here.
I'm
Wow.
so glad that you've healed, and it's so nice to see you, Gail.
Thank you, Joan. Yeah.
That's-
Anyone else? Are we-
Okay, so Gail's slides are in the chat. Her contact information is in the chat. You know, as I said with Susan's presentation, one of the best ways to learn from people sometimes is to work with them. So she's available for that as well. Anything else you want to add, Gail?
Great.
No, please let me know how your intentions went. And you can, even if you want to share them, and so we all hold them together. And you know, you know, tell me how they came to fruition. I'd be really curious.
Yeah.
So keep
Oh,
me
actually, I am going to add one more thing. So Gail's book, Money Come Dance With Me, is on, as you can see, her cover on the slide. It's an amazing book. It's really written for people that are spiritually oriented and wanting to have a great relationship with money. And a lot of us have had problems with that because money's been oriented with domination and greed, and that's the paradigm we're trying to get away from. And so Gail did all this work in the Akashic Records, talking with money and learning how it wants to be aligned with collaboration and generosity, and how we can invite money into our lives in that way. And anything else anybody wants to add for the good of the order?